Has your bike ever sounded like this? Or this? Or even worse, like this? In this video, we are going to show you how to get your derailleur running smoothly. A rear derailleur has two jobs. Its first job is to tension the chain, and its second job is to guide the chain through the gears on the cassette. It accomplishes these tasks using spring tension and the movement of the shift cable. For the most part, rear derailleurs do a great job, but over time, due to cable stretch, trailside impacts, or screws backing out, they can need some love. Our goal is that by the end of this video, you will be able to completely set up and tune a rear derailleur from start to finish. April is going to be the mechanic, and I'll guide you through the process. Even though you may have a different brand or model of derailleur, these steps will apply to any standard cable-actuated drivetrain. The tools needed may change slightly depending on the brand, but if you have these key tools in your toolbox, you should be able to handle any derailleur setup. The first step in this process sounds silly, but is often the most overlooked. Step number 1 is to make sure the derailleur is tight on the derailleur hanger. Over time, this main mounting bolt can come loose as the derailleur pivots, and it can cause the rear derailleur to lose alignment. Anytime I need to work on a drivetrain, I start by checking this main bolt. Step number 2 is to look for major misalignment. A derailleur can only do its job correctly if it is aligned with the gears. It needs to be aligned both vertically and torsionally. The best way to check for alignment is to shift into the middle of the cassette and to look at the drivetrain from behind the bike. You want to make sure the pulley wheels and the derailleur cage are as in line with the current gear as possible. There will always be a little wiggle room using the eyeball measurement, but that's okay. We are mainly looking for things that are severely out of whack. When a derailleur is out of alignment, it usually comes from the derailleur hanger being bent. Most modern bikes will utilize a removable hanger, and these are designed to be softer than the derailleur itself. They are meant to bend to save the derailleur from major damage. These hangers can often easily be bent back using an alignment tool or replaced for around $30. At the end of the day, if your hanger is bent, you will always struggle to get proper shifting. If you are in a pinch, you can do a pretty good job of bending them back the old school way. To do this, place the correct size tool in the derailleur mounting bolt, then gently move them back into alignment using the tool as leverage, but being careful not to bend the derailleur cage. By gently bending it, eyeballing it, and then repeating this process, you can get things to work a little better and get you out of a pinch. If your bike doesn't have a removable hanger, I highly recommend taking it into a bike shop for them to help you with this step and to avoid doing major damage to your frame. Now that things are aligned, we are going to make sure the derailleur is doing its other job of tensioning the chain. To do this, shift down into your smallest gear and turn off the clutch mechanism if you have one. If you see your chain drooping at all while it's in the smallest cog, this is a sign that your chain is either slightly too long or that your B tension adjustment has backed out and needs to be tightened. The B tension adjustment is responsible for rotating your derailleur away from the gears and allowing you to add chain tension in the smaller gears. For now, we are going to tighten the B tension until the chain stops drooping, and then a little later on, we are going to fine tune it. Next up is setting the H-limit screw. This screw's job is to make a hard stop on your derailleur to make sure your chain doesn't get sucked in between the frame and the bottom cog. Not only can this cause damage to your bike, but it can actually lock your cranks in place and potentially cause a crash. The way I like to set this screw is to slowly tighten it until you feel it make contact with the derailleur. Then, start pedaling slowly and keep turning the H-limit screw until you hear the chain start faintly clicking as it tries to go up one gear. Once you hear the chain clicking, slowly back the H-limit off until you hear the chain running smoothly in line with the bottom gear. This is where you want the screw to be set. You want the top pulley wheel on the derailleur to be in line with the bottom cog on the cassette. Now that we have the B tension and the H-limit set, the next step is to adjust the shift cable. A shifter's job is to pull and release a set amount of cable each time the shifter is clicked. This tells the derailleur how far it needs to move. To set up your cable tension correctly, what I like to do is start at the shifter by turning the barrel adjuster all the way clockwise until it stops, and then back it out 5 to 7 clicks. This will give you a little wiggle room later on. Make sure that the cable housing stays seated in the barrel adjuster after doing this. Then we will go back to the derailleur, and while the derailleur is in the smallest cog, you need to locate the shift cable retention bolt. While holding the end of the cable, you will loosen the cable retention bolt and gently pull any slack out of the system. You don't want this to be too tight. The derailleur shouldn't actually move when pulling the slack out of the cable. When you feel like you have the slack out, you will tighten the retention bolt. Now that everything is tight, we are going to dial in the shifting. To do this, start slowly pedaling the bike in the hardest gear and then click the shifter one time to shift up one gear. If the derailleur doesn't fully shift into the gear after just one click, we will shift back into the smallest cog, turn the barrel adjuster on the shifter 2 clicks counterclockwise to take some more slack out of the system, and then try again. We will repeat this process until the derailleur shifts cleanly from the bottom cog to the next cog up after one click of the shifter. The goal is to have the chain line up perfectly with each cog after one click of the shifter. If you have to turn the barrel adjuster more than 4 full turns, I would recommend starting this process over and trying to remove some more slack with the cable retention bolt. Once you get this working smoothly, as long as your alignment is good, the cable tension should now be set correctly for the entire gear range. Now that the B tension, H limit, and cable tension are set, it is time to set the L limit screw. This screw's job is to make a hard stop on the derailleur and prevent the chain from getting stuck in between the last gear on the cassette and the spokes. To set the L limit, we will slowly shift upward to the second to largest cog and stop there. Once we get here, we will stop the rear wheel, and then we will very slowly pedal the bike again and shift into the last gear. Once the chain is on the biggest cog, stop pedaling and tap the brake to stop the wheel. If your derailleur cage hits the largest cog at all, you may need to add a little B tension to gain some clearance. From here, we will set the L limit screw. The easiest way I have found to do this is to gently tighten the L limit screw until you see or feel it make contact with the derailleur. Then, back it off 1/4 to 1/2 turn. If this screw is too tight, the derailleur will not be able to shift freely onto the biggest cog, and if it is too loose, you risk the derailleur overshifting and getting the chain stuck behind the cassette and the spokes. The goal again is to have the derailleur in line with the last cog. To check that the L limit is set properly, shift down one gear and then shift back into the largest cog. If this shifts properly, the L limit is not too tight. Next, you can gently push the derailleur towards the spokes while pedaling slowly. The derailleur should make contact with the limit screw, preventing the chain from coming off the top. The derailleur should also never be able to contact the spokes at all. Now that you have everything set up, run through the gears a few times. If it seems like the bike has a hard time shifting down into the harder gears, turn the barrel adjuster clockwise 2 clicks at a time to release cable tension until it shifts smoothly on the way down. If it's having a hard time shifting up into the easier gears, turn the barrel adjuster 2 clicks counterclockwise to take up some slack and repeat this until it shifts smoothly upward. A well-tuned drivetrain should shift smoothly both directions and should rarely click while pedaling. Congratulations, you just set up a derailleur. I have used this process for setting up all of my race bikes and while working at a shop for 6 years, so I hope it really helps you. Cool. Are you stoked you learned how to do it?
Yeah. It was actually pretty easy.
Yeah. And then the other cool thing is like out on a ride, if it's shifting hard in the back, if it's not coming down or going up, then you know how to use a barrel adjuster now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Now I don't have to do it. Cool, good job.
Thanks. We hope you like this video, and if you have any other ideas, please put them in the comments below. And if you got any value from this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and huge thanks to our Patreon crew for supporting us. See you guys next time.
If for some reason you went through all of these steps and the bike is still having issues shifting, bring it down to your friendly local bike shop. There could be some harder to diagnose issues such as compromised cable routing, rust in the system, or mismatched components that can cause problems. If you got some value out of this, it would mean a lot to us if you could please like the video and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.
I don't know, this is why I don't talk.
What are you trying to do?
I can't. The abs today come on, that makes me laugh.
I haven't said anything.
You're happy.